Paul, so often you mention the brief that you get from the client. What does that mean?
I guess it's a bit of archy speak, but the brief is the and I help the clients come up with a brief. The brief is the requirements of the client. So that incorporates accommodation requirements, how many bedrooms they want. But I like to talk about how they live who's going to live in the house, how long they're going to live in the house, and how they live in the house. So if you're an older couple downsizing, it's a different brief to a young couple with a new family. They're going to be there for the next 20 or 30 years. I also like to talk about their lifestyle. So, do you entertain a lot? Do you like to live outside? Do you read? Do you need somewhere to store books? What sort of furniture do you have? Are you taking a lot of furniture with you, or are you going to start again with furniture? It's those kind of things. So you need to document all of those requirements for a client, and then that becomes your starting point for the design.
So the brief always happens at the start.
It can evolve, but yes, it starts at the very beginning of the project.
And so what happens if the brief does evolve over the project?
As long as you can evolve the design, that's all fine. And often when you start looking at the design, it starts prompting some other questions, some other requirements.
So what are the 5 or 10 questions that you're likely to ask so that people can be prepared when you start talking to them about a brief?
So I would usually ask who's going to live in the house, and that is, might be mum and dad, 3 kids, or it might be just us, but we have grandchildren that come every second weekend. That's one question. So who's going to live in the house? I'm going to ask you what your budget is. How much do you want to spend on this project? I'm going to talk a bit about materiality. Have you seen other houses that you like, and the materials that you like to work with? But a big question I'm going to ask is, how do you live? Are you introverted? Are you extroverted? Do you entertain a lot? Do you like to live outside? Another question is, how important is the garden to you? Energy costs. So how important is it that we start looking at the running costs of the house? Do we want to look at solar? Do we want to look at other other ways to reduce energy? But also, so in the past, I've had, in the days before the internet, people would keep scrapbooks, and they would show me, these are a whole lot of houses that I like, and I could flick through them pretty quickly and go and get a theme of what sort of houses they like. Nowadays they're a Pinterest page or things like that. So the brief is the starting point for the design. They're the client's requirements that I have to try and meet. We'll meet in the office and we'll talk this through for quite a while. I encourage you to have something either written or even a scrapbook of things that examples of buildings that you like and materials that you like. We're going to go through all of those kind of things. It's often a process that takes a little time, but the main points are who's going to live in it and how you live in the house.